Okay, so I'm just gonna go over and read this first page of the No Impact Man in the first chapter, and I'm just gonna go over some things that I wanted to address about annotation. So I'm gonna go ahead and underline and talk about things and write about things that maybe are interesting to me, that I relate to, I can build connections on, I have questions about, I don't understand. And so this will just help me get a better understanding of the text. So I'm just going to go ahead and get right into that. So for 1 year, my wife, baby daughter, and I, while residing in the middle of New York, attempted to live without making any net impact on the environment. So already off the back, I'm having trouble understanding maybe what net impact might refer to. And so I'll put a question mark right here for something that I can come back to, look up, so I can get a better understanding of this entire sentence right here. Moving on, ultimately, this meant we did our best to create no trash, so no takeout food. I feel like I could do that, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a little note that this doesn't seem so hard, but maybe time consuming with cooking. So I just went ahead and I wrote that right here. Moving on. Cause no carbon dioxide emissions, so no driving or flying. Okay, so this makes me wonder, how do they get around? Walk or bicycle? Question mark. So that's just something that I'll probably end up finding out later in the passage of the text. And so this just kind of makes me think about more of, how are they going to go about doing this? Like, how is this going to happen? It seems sometimes hard for, like, when I'm thinking about how they're going to get places that require driving, or it's too far to walk or ride their bike. And then pour no toxins in the water, so no laundry detergent. Okay, so maybe, how do they clean their clothes? Okay, moving on. Buy no produce from distant lands, no New Zealand fruit. Okay, not to mention no elevators, no subways, no products and packaging, no plastic, no air conditioning, no TV, no buying any new things. So besides no subway, I feel as though this all relates to me, and I think that I might struggle. Maybe did they follow through with this? So maybe did they make any exceptions? Did at times they cave a little bit, or did they stick to this, like, to their gut, like to their core? Like, did they really not use any of these things? Because sometimes elevators, like say an injury, like that can be useful. Or no products and packaging. Sometimes, like, when you need to go to the grocery store, that's what all they have. So are they buying their food from farmland? Question mark. And then no plastic, no AC. So how did they cool off? So already we can see I'm starting to want to know how they did these things, and I'm building questions and connections that will help me better understand this text once I find the answers in them. And when I do, I'll probably think back about, oh yeah, I wondered about that, or I did build a connection on that. And so any of these things, New Zealand fruit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to this other side of the paper. Okay, so we start here. But before we get into all that, I should explain what drove me to become No Impact Man. Okay? To start, I am going to tell a story that is more of a confession, a pre-changing of my ways, stalking, and a prodigal son mea culpa sort of thing. Okay? So is this done to make himself feel better, or for the community? Maybe both? Sorry about the handwriting. I'm just kind of go speedy through these. So I just want to know his motivations for this. Like, what is his true intentions in doing this? Is he trying to make himself feel better? If he's having a confession, a pre-changing of his ways? I just want to know maybe if he's doing this for the right reasons, which I would assume for maybe the community. The story starts with a deal I made with my wife, Michelle. By way of background, Michelle grew up all daddy's gold Amex and taxi company charge account and huge boats and 3 country clubs and pledged allegiance to the flag. So typical rich American family, I would presume. So it sounds like he didn't have the same upbringing, question mark, because I don't know for sure, but maybe we'll find out soon. I, on their hand, yep, so on the other hand, so that brings me to this point again. Grew up all long hair to my shoulders, designer labels are silly. Wish I was old enough to be a draft dodger and take LSD. Alternative schooling, short on cash, save the whales, and we don't want to be rich anyway because we hate materialism. Okay, so he's quite the opposite. So that's something to note. Quite the opposite. Maybe do they clash? And that's something to note. Maybe we'll see like their journey together. Like, are they clashing? Is this not something that bothers them, or even is a problem? And so, since I know from myself that they're doing this as a family sort of thing, I'm wondering like if this is extra hard for Michelle. For her, question mark. And that's just something that we'll pick up on later. Like, is this going to be more of a journey for her than it is for him? Because we see he already doesn't care about materialism, or he's all about like saving the whales. He's all about like helping and all those green attributes. So once during a visit to my mother's house in Westport, Massachusetts, Michelle lay on the bed in my former bedroom and stared up at the ugly foam ceilings. You know, I grew up with a much nicer... We're going to stop here just because I wanted to go through this first page, and I want you guys to pick on right here where we're leaving off on. So you guys are going to start at this portion and go on to that second page of the book on your own. I do want you guys to go ahead and look at both of this first page, just so that you can see maybe what your feelings are. Maybe you have the same questions and connections I do, since maybe we're from the same around community. Anywho, so once you do that, I think this will give you a better understanding of the text. So make sure that we're underlining things that we don't understand so we can go back and look them up, building connections, pointing those out, making questions that we might have, showing that we were wondering about certain things. Just show your critical thinking on paper, because sometimes it's easier to come back to, and it's a form of note-taking that I think is very beneficial for us. Okay, goodbye.